Hello, football family. Welcome into Huddle It Up Films. Week 4 upon us. The red hot Buffalo Bills, undefeated, coming to town, M&T Bank Stadium. Sunday night football. The bank will be rocking. It's the blackout night. If for anybody that's never been to a game at night in M&T Bank Stadium, Yuri, I don't know if you have. It's special. Do you have an experience?
I'm jealous. I'm jealous I'm not at this game. I was at the I've been in a couple. I was at the one last year against the Bengals. That was awesome. That the little bird they have flying around the stadium, that's fun. I was at the Browns one in 2021, the Mark Andrews sliding catch in the end zone, that one. And then in 2022, when was I can't remember when that was, but I was probably at that one too. I'm almost at every home game, so they're always fun. They're always good, fun to go to. The energy's always high.
High energy. It's just different at night. It's just hard to explain. Everybody's hype. Everybody's warmed up. Day games are great too, but there's something special about that stadium and the purple lights when it's all dark in there, and yeah, the bird flying around. What is that? Just like computer animation.
AI something.
I'm forgetting the word. Yeah, it's something, but it's incredible. But this is a big test for the Baltimore Ravens, and hey, big test for the Buffalo Bills too. Tuned in Monday night to watch them play. 5 touchdowns in their first 5 possessions, first half. I mean, the last one was kind of ridiculous, bro. They got the ball back, not much time left, and they scored a touchdown on that one too. Red hot offense, Josh Allen. And Yuri, spoiler. I mean, this is getting into the matchups already, but the thing that I noticed from that game is that it reminded me of when Mark Andrews went down for the Baltimore Ravens, and the ball just got spread out more. The offense was more unpredictable from a passing standpoint. Like Josh Allen is using a little bit of everybody now that Stephon Diggs is in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, watching. Well, first off, Josh Allen. Obviously, have to give him props. Played a great game. He's out there. He's kind of playing. I hate giving awards away in week 3. I do. I really do. But if I had to give one away, he is playing like the MVP. And he's out there, and it's not to say that the players they have on their offense are under skilled, because they have some great skill players out there that we'll eventually highlight. But yeah, he is out there, just dominant, very very dominant.
So before we get into the matchups, I wanted to mention the injury report. Now it's only Wednesday, so long way to go, but found it interesting that for the Bills, first of all, they're missing Matt Milano, their Pro Bowl linebacker. He hasn't played this year, but also Terrell Bernard, who is their other linebacker, and Teron Johnson, their nickelback, very good player. Both of those guys beat up, are still not practicing. So it doesn't look like, unless they have a miraculous recovery at the end of this week, that they're going to be able to play this week. Maybe they'll be limited if they play. Those are 2 guys, and 3 if you count Milano, the middle of that Buffalo defense, that are very important pieces for them that the Ravens may not see this week.
Yeah, that is big, and we highlighted again last week with the linebacker advantage that the Ravens had. Having those guys out, the Ravens, and don't want to spoil into the matchup, but I feel like this is a big. It's going to be another big 12 personnel game, and who can get big, who can get physical. So the Ravens being out there and hopefully be able to out physical with a player like Milano out, that's huge.
Now for the Ravens, Michael Pierce missed practice. He was the guy, Yuri, that I noticed got banged up during the game. So he would be the most questionable guy to me. Him and Jalen Armour Davis, don't know what's going on with him. He missed practice again today. But Michael Pierce obviously is a big member of that rotation. It's already thin. You only have 5 guys. It's the same 5 guys from last year. Preseason, the other linemen who were in there who aren't on the active 53, quite frankly, weren't impressive. Guys were just moving the ball all over, so we were getting blown off the line. So Michael Pierce still a very important part of this team, even though Travis Jones is kind of taken over that nose tackle, big defensive tackle role. Michael Pierce, we're going to need him because all of a sudden this Bills team likes to run the ball, can run the ball, are more committed to running the ball.
Yeah, they've lined up in jumbo personnel, and we'll see later with one of the statistics that they are indeed more of a running team now. They're not that 2021 Bills team where you think of Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs and aired it out. They're out there. They're getting physical, and I mean they're here. It was definitely a transition year. I feel like when they made the switch, and you could tell that they couldn't find it, but they are certainly this year being out there and being out physical in some teams.
And you know what? That's been my thing with the Bills the last couple of years is they didn't really give me that confidence. And of course, they've been successful, so it's nothing against them, but they were so one dimensional, and it seemed like anybody you saw Devin Singletary have a good year last year when he left Buffalo. It seemed like Buffalo was a place where running backs just would not thrive. They drafted James Cook. It's taken a year now, and they're actually running the ball. I saw last week their offensive line entering last week was number 1 in run block win rate. So they can block people, they can run the ball, and then of course Josh Allen with his mobility is a part of that too. Maybe not as big of a part as Lamar Jackson when it comes to scheduled runs, but their rushing attack overall is now legitimate, and they compare that with a quarterback with a big arm.
Yeah, I mean that's really it's kind of the ideal model we seem like to strive for is you can run the ball and then you build play action off of it, and you have a quarterback that can run. It all comes together like that, and that's how you really get defenses, linebackers flowing, safeties committing too early to the run. Defensive ends out there in space, kind of lost because they don't know where to commit. It open up a lot for your offense, and as we've seen, they put up a lot of points last week, a lot of points. So, got to be ready.
Well, I say, if this game is close and the game script doesn't get out of control like a lot of these game scripts have, they're going to be tested running the ball on us, Guy, because I'll have the numbers later, but I think it's 50 yards a game we're giving up, 2.8 yards per carry, something ridiculous, like would be records of all time if they held up. Obviously, they won't. We'll regress back to some kind of average, but the Ravens' run defense, no joke this year. Now, on the offensive line for the Ravens, Voorhees didn't practice, McCary didn't practice, Linderbaum didn't practice. When Harbaugh was asked about it today, he kind of downplayed it. In my opinion, he was like, look, it's the season. Guys are going to go through some things. We're going through some things. So who knows? It could be coach speak, and one of these guys could be out for a couple of weeks, and we don't know. But, the Ravens do have some backups who could use some time. Roger Rosengarten, Ben Cleveland, good players on the bench. So if, the offensive line struggles or if guys are banged up, the Ravens at least have some answers there, but it's never good to have guys banged up going into a game.
Yeah, and I mean, just assuming if those three were out, you put in Rosengarten, you put in Sumac, I guess, at center, or Cleveland. Yeah, one of the two. Maybe the big we got you is Ben Cleveland playing center this week. If Linderbaum's out, that'd be funny. And then left guard.
Yeah, exactly.
Salah,
There's just not much, right? There's just not much after that. So we need our guys to get healthy. Now, something we discussed on the show I feel like it was widely discussed outside the show was Kyle Hamilton's usage. And the first week I kind of noticed it. He seemed like he was playing more off the line of scrimmage. The last 2 weeks getting more involved. Last week, 12 tackles. Kyle was everywhere. He saw him blitzing, chasing down Dak Prescott a couple of times. So it was nice to see. But saw this on the old interwebs and found it was interesting, so I brought it up. This is a heat map, Yuri. Now, you're a well-schooled man. You know what this means, right?
I do indeed. It is an area, usually where a place or person is. And obviously the brighter the spots, the more he's been there. So don't know if I was allowed to say that, but we'll just
that was good.
I knew that beforehand.
I'll put you on the spot, man. I want to hear how you would explain it. But yeah, you can see all the different places that Kyle's lined up, coming off that rush edge a lot, man, which is pretty cool. That's some of the blitzes we've seen. Lined up in the slot a lot, and then the one to the top right, there's when he's playing strong safety. So he's lining up a strong safety. He's lining up mainly around the line of scrimmage, and people categorize it as like linebacker. He's playing linebacker, but you don't see a lot of like spots in the middle there of where a linebacker would be, where Roquan would be with Trenton. He's mostly
overhang.
Right, he's like an overhang. He's close to the line of scrimmage, threatening the line of scrimmage. You can see the ones in the bottom middle there where he's threatening to rush up the middle. shoot the A gap or B gap, or he's playing safety. So Kyle, according to this chart, next gen stats, is lining up everywhere, Yuri, and you got to love it because that wasn't a big question to me coming into the season. I figured Kyle would be moved around everywhere, but it just goes to show you 3 weeks into the season that Kyle is being used kind of like he was under Mike McDonald.
Yeah, for sure. That was something I was questioning after those first couple of weeks. I'm like, are we really gonna put him back there and let him play split safety the whole time? But thankfully, yeah, he's being moved around. He looked great last week. Made a lot of tackles in space. Kind of that forced dominant defender that really that for that first half. A lot of the explosive plays the Cowboys had in the second half. A lot of them are limited in the first half because of Kyle Hamilton's ability and range. So, and obviously, he is playing more down near the line of scrimmage, particularly that bottom left spot. The bigger the red dot, the more he's been there. So, yeah, very, very, very encouraging to see. That was. I started to be like, we lost the Mike McDonald touch, but it's all right. We're good.
No, hey, my theory was Kyle was a little banged up off season, shoulder surgery, I believe, came up on the injury report with a back injury. I'm not sure if that was just like a fake out, whereas, shoulder wasn't right and they just decided to categorize it as somewhere else. Then, of course, he came down wrong in that joint practice against the Packers with his knee and hip. So, things get physical when you're around the line of scrimmage down there at the bottom. It's a lot of big bodies coming around, a lot of edge defending right there, and rushing, and a lot of big bodies. So maybe they were just trying to, that first week especially, trying to ease him in. And, of course, when Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback, you don't want to blitz a lot, Yuri. Like, I think that is part of it, too. Like, Mahomes is not one of those quarterbacks that you want to blitz. Be interesting to see with Josh Allen this week. He's another guy thrives against the blitz, how aggressive the Ravens are on defense here. But, yeah, just a little look into Kyle Hamilton. Yuri, anything else on your mind before we jump into the important part, the meat of the show, the matchups this week?
I think the secondary and the defense will be fine.
Okay.
I know we're last in the league in yards allowed against the pass. I think we'll be fine. That is my thought. I don't even need to throw any other analysis in there. I think we'll be all right.
Well, if you don't mind, I want to throw in my analysis because these are conversations I've had offline on Twitter, though, but like literally offline, like nobody else can see it. People DMing me and that kind of thing. And they're freaking out about the pass defense. Ravens last in the NFL in yards allowed. My main thing, there's two main things. And I saw my buddy Donard Melton, who's called plays before, a former linebacker, college linebacker, big time player, defensive coordinator, mentioned this. And it's the main point to me is that when you play a lot of zone defense, and the NFL has gone to a ton of zone defense, it takes time to close those windows. And Tom Brady talked about on the broadcast a lot last week about, just tighten up them windows. So when you're passing off a defender, if you're behind me, Yuri, I got to carry that defender a certain amount of time. You got to pick them up while I go back to where I was supposed to go, pick up another defender coming across the window. So just that chemistry amongst the DBs takes time, even though they're veteran guys and have played together. That's going to improve as the year goes on. And then also, I think game script, and it's sometimes it's easy to minimize the fact that these guys are humans. So, you want the defense to be as tight in the fourth quarter as it is in the first quarter. But if you're a human being and your team is up, you guys are up by 20 some points. You don't want to be the guy that gets called on a double move and beat for a quick touchdown and the whole stadium explodes. Like, you naturally play it safer as a human being when you got a lead. So it's not like, Zach Orr is calling prevent defense and we're letting all this up. No, that's not the case. But these guys are humans. We got a big lead. You tend to just play it a little bit safer. Make sure you make the tackle. Make sure that you're in your zone. Make sure that you're not getting beat over the top. So I think that has to do with it too. Like when the Ravens are up big, it's just, I think the players don't want to be singled out as being the GOAT, the guy that let up the quick touchdown. So those two factors are my main reasons of analysis is why the defense will, or the pass defense will get better.
Yeah, I'll throw in there. I will throw in some analysis. I'll throw in that the communication issues, like, it isn't a talent issue. It is not a talent issue. They have plenty of talent in the secondary for themselves to figure it out. It's some communication issues and some coaching issues. And what you hit on, the pass offs between level 2 and level 3 are not, the chemistry just isn't there right now. From what I saw with my eyes, I felt like the chemistry wasn't there like it was last year. That's because they had a coordinator. You know what I mean? Go through a whole season. He had growing pains, and then he hit his stride later in that half of the season. And then, so it's not always going to look like that when you have a new offensive or new defensive coordinator out there. So, yeah, talent's there. Just give it some time. I'm not worried, and I'm sure, leading into this game, this is going to be a big one. This is one of these games where, we saw with the last half of the last game, the Bills can be explosive very, very quickly, very often, especially in the pass attack. So
Yeah, this is just such an exciting game. Can't wait to get to this right now. The matchups. Let's see. Let's start on the Ravens offense. Now, Ravens offense, 12 personnel. I keep highlighting. When we get to the Bills offense, I actually, Uriah made screenshots for their 11 and their 12 because they run a lot and they run a lot of jumbo sets. So, I just wanted to give, but for the Ravens, as I scroll the bottom, the offense, I think we know when, guys come off the field, we'll have Ricard in there when we want to run the ball. We'll have Justice Hill in there. We'll have Nelson Aguilar in there. We'll have Charlie Kolar in there. Your guy, I think that it's very wise that I'm going to start here. When the Ravens wanted to run the ball, they're not asking Mark to just pound away in the run game when they know they're going to need Mark Andrews for 17 games plus the playoffs. The leg still doesn't look right to me. Like, that was a pretty brutal injury, pretty major injury. Yeah, I think that Charlie Kolar has done a really nice job as a blocking tight end, and it was nice to see him peel off and catch a ball in the flat because that's a play that the Ravens can use to their advantage. Hey, Charlie Kolar's in the game. They're running the ball. Well, not that time.
absolutely, that's that was 30 yards is a lot of yards, but yeah, that play had me feeling some type of way. That is for sure. But in terms of serious analysis, yeah, I mean, that has been the big kind of storyline going into the season was how much are they going to use 12 personnel? What's the most efficient tight end set we can get in there with two tight ends? And I was always team like, hey, like, we have like Kolar can block and he can line up in line. So I thought it was always beneficial to have him in there and then have one of the other two interchange to keep them fresh. So this game they go out there and he outsnaps Mark Andrews, and you could see with some of the blocks. I mean, he's out there diving, putting his body on the line. So yeah, it's great to see. And whenever they know they have that in their bag, hey, if we need to get bigger than somebody, and we just need to score and get points, get Kolar and Ricard out there on the field, man, and just have at it. And then
Yeah,
use the play action off of it too.
yeah, use play action off of it. It was just such a strange game last week because the lead was, so big so often, and then, the Cowboys really had no prayer stopping the run. I mean, like, give credit to the guys up front. Happy for Lele. He got like a little reprieve, a little bit of a break, had a good game. Lele did make some good blocks. So take nothing away from him in that aspect. But man, Yuri, that Cowboys defense, it was like lack of alignment, lack of discipline. The linebackers got sucked up so easy. We're just I saw a couple of times where Lele was trying to climb to level 2, and he couldn't even make it there because the Cowboy linebackers were like running right into him. It's like, man, this is bad. This is bad. And the Ravens, of course, to their credit, stuck with the run, put it away. Lamar extremely efficient. I think his quarterback rating was like 140 something, 158.3 being perfect. But yeah, different test this week. But the Bills are number 1 in the NFL in pass defense right now. Some really, really good pass defense. They're a little bit more susceptible to the run, which is why Derrick Henry, once again, highlighted this week as a key player in this matchup, Yuri.
Yeah, I was looking at it. The Bills' pass defense. I mean, they're allowing what was it, 5.1 yards a catch, or air yards a catch. So they're keeping everything in front of them. They're not letting up explosive plays, and I mean this is why you signed Derrick Henry. It's why you give him the money. It's why you go out last week and you prove that you can run the football. Is because coming into this game against a team that doesn't allow explosive plays, you're gonna have to establish the run game in order to get them out of that defense. Put another guy down in the box. And then once you do that, like I said earlier, you build play action off of it. You take shots downfield. So it's pivotal. They got to establish the run this game. They got to get Derrick Henry going. I would get him at least 11 touches in the first half just to get him going. I'd get out there and get out there, get early, and especially with Milano potentially being out. I'm going right behind Linderbaum and Stanley for about 6 carries for that first half.
Yeah, and you'll see it scroll across screen right now. There it goes. Bills are actually second best in the NFL in yards per attempt allowed. 5.1, man. Every time the quarterback drive, 5.1 is extremely low. So kudos to them. And they're 22nd in the NFL in allowing rushing yards per carry.
You know who's number one?
Who's that? Mike McDonald. Mike McDonald. Yeah.
Mike McDonald. Hey, look, they haven't played good quarterbacks. I like Mike McDonald. All right. It have nothing to do with our situation, coach, whatever. I like McDonald. But no matter what, he always liked him.
Yeah, Mike Mack was something else, man. And he's going to have a lot of success out there. It seems like any branch of the Shanahan tree, man, he
has them, man. He has them.
Yeah, he's the perfect coach for that division with Shanahan in it and McVay. And McVay carved him up last year, but Mike McDaniel down in Miami. Yeah, he knows what he's doing there. But back to this game, Derrick Henry again. And, if you look on the other side of the ball, it's a personnel league. It's a matchup league. Dorian Williams, former, I think, 4th-round pick, mid-round linebacker. He is the will. And I think the man's first name is Balin Spector, a former 2nd-round or 7th-round pick. Yeah, Balin Spector is playing linebacker for them right now. So this is not Matt Milano. This is not Terrell Bernard. Daquan Jones, excellent run stuffer there at defensive tackle. Ed Oliver, more of a pass rushing defensive tackle, known for that more than his run defense. His run defense can get spotty. He's a little bit maybe not underweight, but his play strength is questioned at times. His discipline is questioned at times. Former high pick. But yeah, he can rush the passer. So that's why I have Henry highlighted. I think Oliver is key to this game for 2 reasons. Number one, can he hold up against the run? But number 2, he can get pressure on the passer. And right guard still, probably the weakest spot on the Ravens O-line compared to the other guys and how they've been playing. So how Ed Oliver plays in this game and how the Ravens can neutralize him is very important to how the Ravens perform on offense, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And another thing, as I remember back to the Bills-Ravens game in 2022, can we finally have some good weather between these two teams? I mean, it's like, I feel like every time I feel like these two teams play, it's just a mess. It's a complete mess out there. But yeah, Ed Oliver, great pass rushing defensive tackle, and yeah, he'll be lined up over whoever plays guard for Lele, or if someone's injured, they do some moving. But they're gonna have to put some. I mean, they can't double him because Rousseau's also a great pass rushing threat. So it's gonna be paramount that one-on-one is won, or if Linderbaum needs to slide over a couple of times and help and pass pro, because he may not be like Wilkins or Parsons or Crosby, who completely wrecked the game, but he'll get his plays in for sure.
He definitely will. Rousseau was drafted right around Adafio Way, same draft. I had them right next to each other in the rankings. Ed Rousseau a little higher, actually. And they both, their career paths have been kind of similar. Rousseau was more pro-ready. That showed up right now. Adafio Way's upside is big, but he is a long defender. He's a power rusher. He's really good on that strong side, as far as containing the quarterback, not having a undisciplined rush and running right past the quarterback, allowing them to flush out right. So Rousseau is, a key matchup here. Also, context clues, Yuri. When Harbaugh was asked after the game about playing Faalele and playing McCary the whole game, and he basically said, "Look, the game was going well. We didn't have any need for. We had some rotations planned, but we never went to them, or
Hmm.
rotations maybe not planned, but we had some rotations that we were available to go to." What that told me was somebody else but Faalele was going to play, or excuse me, we know Rosengarten was platooning with McCary, but it told me that maybe Ben Cleveland was next up for Faalele because you don't want to slide McCary inside if he's platooning already on the right side. If you can get what I mean, I didn't explain that very well. But someone other than McCary was probably backing up Faalele at right guard.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my guess is Josh Jones, just because of the comment that was made about Cleveland that did not seem very positive or indicating in my eyes that he would be next in line. But you never know. But I didn't catch it. Unfortunately, I'm not able to listen to the presses like I used to be able to. So I do appreciate that catch. I'll make sure I make a mental note of that one.
Yeah, and Sala was inactive. Nick Samak was inactive, so it would have had to been either Josh Jones or Cleveland. With the Ravens with 8, linemen active. So
Yeah, that
um,
felt a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw eight, I'm like, even though that's just a little nervous, just a little nervous.
we mentioned the Bills' rush defense being below their pass defense. Another thing that strikes me is that the Teron Johnson not being their nickel back, and they have Lewis in there now, along with Dorian Williams and Balin Spector. You see in the middle of that defense. This, I could have highlighted Andrews. I could have highlighted likely Nelson Aguilar when he's in the game. That middle of the field is going to be very, very important. And as Ravens fans know, Lamar Jackson, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, over the middle of the field, both in terms of accuracy and not throwing interceptions. A lot of balls can get tipped. But that middle of the Bills defense outside the hashes, they're pretty good. You got Christian Bedford, you got Rasul Douglas, good corners, good matchups for Flowers and Bateman, fair matchups. All of those guys will win their share of reps. But I really think, and Damar Hamlin again as a strong safety, assigned in going to be assigned in tight ends areas. I think that this could be a very big game, not only for Derrick Henry, but the tight ends players that work over the middle in this game, Yuri.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Milano out, I mean that's you think about the athletic advantage they already have with likely Andrews and Kolar, who was a good athlete. Yeah, I mean they really should, and we pointed this out last game. Didn't really happen, but this game, hoping game script allows them, if it comes to it and they need to throw the football, that middle of the field they can really dominate with.
Yeah,
Um,
they didn't really need it. And you see down at the bottom, a great stat Yuri provided me before the game. Lamar, 3.2 air yards per throw last week, lowest in his career. So the Ravens just mauled the Cowboys so bad that there was, Lamar's average pass traveled 3.2 yards past the line of scrimmage. It was just safe ball, safe ball, safe ball. So, yeah, we called that the tight ends would be involved last week. And, thanks to Derrick Henry and the run game and the opening script from Todd Monken, which was brilliant last week. Kudos to Todd Monken for there's certain drives where I just hand it to the offensive coordinator. Yeah, the offensive coordinator gave us that one. That's beautiful. And quite frankly, in Baltimore, hasn't happened as much as I would like it to happen, but beautifully scripted. It was like nobody's doing a great job. The play is just running guys wide open and the defense is breaking down. So man, a nice game script, balanced game script to start, and then start pounding Henry down the Bills' middle of their defense on the edge of the defense. That would work for me this week.
yeah, hey, check down Lamar. That's what I saw. As soon as I saw that, I said, hey, that's check down Lamar. We need to get that narrative out there. We need to get it. We need to push it out there like check down Joe. We need to get it out there. All he does is check it down, so he can embrace it. But yeah, that was that. And then coming into this game, probably a similar script in terms of the offense with Henry establishing the run and just and really getting the ball quickly to Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman and the tight ends as well. So it would not shock me if that was a similar script they came out here with, if it's allowed. But to your point, that first half That first half, that was great. That was, you know, I said when I look back and look at some of the plays on film and then some of the stats they had about how the Ravens use their personnel, I'm like, wow, like couch coordinators rejoice. They're out there, they're running play action under center. They're running 12 personnel. They're running the ball. They're being physical. They're look. I I'm I'm a big fan of throwing the football in this NFL and the way defenses the offense has such an advantage. But if you're going to run the ball, man, lean into your identity, be yourself, and I can accept that. So they're out there last week. They're doing what they're doing. I was happy for sure.
And I think, quite honestly, things are changing in the NFL with, the teams are playing so many shells, so safely that running the ball is more important. It's becoming a little more important each year now, to where teams just, aren't used to getting the ball ran at them like that. Almost like it's, everything that goes out of fashion comes back into style. So obviously, your yards per pass attempt is always going to be higher than your yards per carry. So if you just look at it from that kind of perspective, you're always going to gain more yards by passing it if you are running it. But of course, you can't do that, because if you're just passing all the time, the defense knows it. The pass rush. So what I'm saying is, it's a balance that I think the Ravens can find, and I found it especially impressive that when the Ravens needed to throw the ball to ice the game last week, Yuri, they did it in a nice timing play between Lamar and Zay Flowers. Nice little triplets out there, a little bunch formation going to the right. And Lamar's throw was on the money, and Zay looked like he was catching that thing come hell or high water. Like, I liked Zay's attention to the to catching that. But yeah, it's kind of like a pinch hitter coming off the bench in baseball. We weren't throwing that ball all game. And then if we were throwing it, it was like a little dump off, this little 3.2 air yards. Hey, third and whatever it was, we need a completion. What was it, like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6? We need a completion, and we got it on a nice timing pattern by the sideline. That was just a beautiful job by Lamar and Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I mean that's as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets.
A nicer. Hey, saying hi to Andrew K. I appreciate you, man. I see you here. I see you on Twitter. I really appreciate your comments when you comment under the videos. It's great to see you too, bud. For the show, not a lot of press for this show, not a lot of promotion. We're on Wednesday night tonight. We might be on Thursday next week. We don't know. We're doing our best to try to bring some consistency. But Yuri, we're doing it. We're doing the thing.
Hey, we're doing the thing. Hey, trust me, we'll get there. Hey, that's all that matters, huh? We'll get there. We'll get there no matter what. We will get there.
So I have a feeling, prediction this week, I think that Rosengarten will play. And I think that whether it's Ben Cleveland or Josh Jones, I don't think Faalele goes the whole game. I think that in this game in particular, those two guys that are highlighted, Ed Oliver, Gregory Rousseau, they're a handful on that side. They're not quite up to the Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins that we saw 2 weeks ago, but those guys are a factor. I would expect to see some kind of rotation in there this week. Wouldn't even surprise me if Rosengarten was starting. We'll see, but that's going to be my prediction on offenses, that Faalele and McCary aren't going through the whole game like they did last week.
Yeah, I can see that, especially, bright lights, night game. Say the Ravens start slipping early and they need to start throwing the ball more. And the reason why they slipped early is because those guys on the right side gave up a sack or two. That was actually the first initial script that played out in my head, was the Ravens are going to be down 10 and need to throw the football about this game. In this game, like, there's going to be a sack, turnover, interception, something to put them in a negative game script. Like, hey, we got to throw our way back into it. So I could for sure see them like, hey, let's just get our best pass protectors out there. Let's get Rosengarten out there. Let's get Cleveland out there, and let's start going and do 11 and throwing the ball. But my other prediction I'll throw out here for offense is Justice Hall of the backfield. I expect, with Milano being out, I don't know if there's anyone on the Bills defense that can really run and cover with him. So I expect this to be a nice little game for Justice Hill, like he had early on in the season. I think week 1, was it, he had 60-something yards. So yeah, that's my little predicky.
I like that. I mean, the Bills linebackers are Dorian Williams can run a little bit, but he's very inexperienced. Bill Inspector, never even heard of him until I saw him on the TV.
Cool name though.
Um,
Cool name.
it's a very cool name, but those guys don't look like they can run with Justice Hill. So getting Justice Hill involved, especially the passing game, uh, and I love how they would run him, uh, with Lamar with these little read options, and they would always run Hill it seemed like to the field side, where there's just all this wide open territory for Justice Hill. So he would just press the sideline, press the sideline. Guys couldn't catch up with him. And again, the Cowboys' tackling angles weren't that good. But yeah, it's great to see that level of explosion. Justice Hill looks as fast to me, or maybe even faster than he was coming out of college. Like speed wise, maybe it's the same, but when you add like a little extra power to it, he looks like as explosive as he's ever been right now, which is impressive. Like he's drafted in 2019, so 6 years in the league now.
Yeah, he does look like he has a little more juice, a little more pep in his step. That is for sure. I was um I was very impressed. That week one he came out there. He's gotten better. He's gotten better in pass pro. He's gotten faster. He's gotten stronger. I mean, look, Justice Hill having himself a nice little career here. Got
Maybe
got
it's
extension. His pockets are fat again.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe it was like a confidence thing or just an experience thing where he sees the field better. Because his vision has always been kind of like maybe that's the not strong part of his game. He's always been a finisher and always had speed, but maybe Justice has just gotten a little bit more comfortable. Comfortable in his skin, comfortable in his role, knows he has a meaning, not trying to do too much when he's on the field. He just, I think maybe that has a part of it. And then, yeah, he looks stronger to me.
For sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
stronger. Yeah, I agree with you, Jeremiah. He looks stronger and as fast as he was before. So I'm going to flip it to the other side of the ball now. I have two charts for Buffalo. Um, let's see, where is it? Okay, there it is. Sorry, it took a little bit. This is when the Bills line up in 12 personnel. 12 personnel, of course, Yuri, two tight ends. We're going to go ahead and change the narrative. Now, you did send me something, Yuri, that it was too long to put in there, and it had to do with jumbo formations. Do you want to explain that? And I did type in that they run the ball 94% of the time that they're in jumbo, but there was a lot more to it.
Yeah, so since I think it was 2016, when they've lined up of all teams that have lined up in jumbo, they are the most successful team since that time in jumbo. I think they had it was like a 96% success rate out of jumbo in the statistic I sent you. So yeah, when they go out there and they get big, they are it's working. It's working very well. They're running quarterback runs out of it. They're running dives with the running back, and it's since 2015. It's the best. It's the best jumbo personnel grouping setting statistic that they've had. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough to defend jumbo. You have to go out there and get big. Put another linebacker on the field, maybe another defensive lineman. So they get down there in that goal line, that 10 to go, 5 to go, and they're good out there and they're getting physical.
Yeah, definitely. And, we mentioned at the opening, this Bills offense now is committed to running the ball. Pass rush rush blocking win rate, run blocking win rate. The Bills entered last week number one. And Jeremiah bringing up Michael Pierce not practicing today. Hopefully he'll be okay. J-Dub, I noticed him getting banged up during the game and didn't come back in. So I'm a little worried about Michael Pierce, and we're a little thin there. Brent Urban will definitely be active this week with this Bills run attack cooking the way they are. So I'm going to get to a couple of things here. Mentioned in the opening that without Stephon Diggs, it just struck me, Yuri, how much the Bills spread the ball around. It reminded me of when Andrews went out for the Ravens last year. The ball all of a sudden was going here, going there, going everywhere. Josh Allen playing no favorites. It looked really, really good. But this offense seems to be centered around their running back, James Cook, talented running back out of Georgia. I know our guy Jake Vogel loved him. I liked him too. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run between the tackles. He can hit the edge, do a little bit of everything, having a great year. And I highlighted Trenton Simpson on our side because I think that, like PQ was used last year, it was a kind of like a sick'em when it came to running backs catching out of the backfield. And PQ had that speed. Trenton Simpson has that speed to keep up with James Cook when he heads into the flat. So that matchup to me is very intriguing. I think James Cook versus Trenton Simpson. Obviously, they're not going to be going against each other every play, but that aspect of the game, to me, that matchup is individual matchup is very important.
Absolutely, and talk about two really good athletes as well in terms of how fluid they are in their game. Um, I was with you and Jake as well. I wanted James Cook. I thought that was uh, I was a lot higher on him, and then to see him to go at the back end of the second round, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, because he was such a great player at Georgia, and you can never go wrong with Georgia running back too. So, yeah, that matchup, Simpson being able to stay in coverage, if they ever, like we seen last year, I think it was PQ on the running back out of the backfield for the Colts, and it went down the sideline. Similar role, and we'll see. I mean, we'll see if Simpson's up to snuff. He obviously is still in his fourth football game playing since he's been here. So we'll see. But I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, it's a couple of good athletes, a couple of young players, a couple of good players. Both of them really starting to find themselves in the league this year. So I'm excited to see the Ravens have got to, like, there are a lot of weapons on this team, and Josh Allen, of course, is a monster in and of himself. But this offense really looks like it revolves around James Cook, run game, pass game. Kind of reminds me of like we saw PQ and Christian McCaffrey last year. Everything was running through him. It's that kind of offense for the Bills, and a big test for Trenton Simpson. So the other guy I have highlighted for the Ravens, I feel really strongly about this, is Kyle Van Noy. He was the first person I highlighted, and that is because, like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen is a guy that you need to have contained in the pocket. You have to be aware of those quick hitters, those screen passes to the right. You cannot over pursue Josh Allen and let him roll out. You can't over pursue Josh Allen and let him shoot up the middle. You have got to have an eye on Josh Allen. And a way on the strong side or on the weak side is a little different. He can go ahead and rush and try to hit Josh Allen from the blind side and really give it his all. But Van Noy is going to have to be very calculated in his rush plan and how he contains Josh Allen. And I got to be honest with you, Yuri, there are not too many other guys I'd want to have on the field in that situation other than Kyle Van Noy, one of the smartest defensive ends you're going to see.
Absolutely, and that's we've seen Josh Allen step up in the pocket when there's pressure coming around, and we've seen him go outside when he can get around the tackle. So Josh Allen, he's just one of those guys. He's gonna get his. But if Van Noy can be very calculated and I mean, hey, the Ravens are in terms of pressure, they are the 30th team in the league in terms of time to pressure. So they are getting to the quarterback about every 3.03 seconds. So they're pretty slow. They're actually pretty slow getting the pressure. So that actually might work in their benefit for this game. Them not getting there quick and not making Allen start doing what he does and in the whole moving around and running the ball. And we've seen actually the past, I think, game or two with Allen, he actually hasn't ran that much. And the Bills' obviously offense has still worked, but yeah, Van Noy. I would also throw out that their tackle Spencer Brown has not let up a pressure through the first 3 games, 75 pass snaps. So that is going to be a big matchup if Van Noy is lined up over him.
And that in itself might be indicative of how carefully teams want to rush over the right tackle. I mean, it's almost goes with what I'm saying. Excuse me. The Bills, number 1 in the NFL in points, as you see at the bottom, averaging over 37 points a game. That is ridiculous. But yeah, you can't just let Josh Allen roll out and let him make plays. And it's just like Lamar. You know, he makes right tackles better. You know, we've seen that here. No matter how good the rusher is, if you're not just beating your guy off the snap, You better take your time and keep your lane integrity when you're rushing Josh Allen, just like Lamar Jackson. So Khalil Shakir, another guy I highlighted here, just because the Ravens have given up most of the yards and they have not been good when it comes to working over the middle. Khalil Shakir, not afraid to work over the middle. Could have highlighted Dalton Kincaid as well. But much like on the other side, as we highlighted, the middle of the pass defense for the Ravens is really where they've had most of the problems.
Yeah, for sure, and that's to what we said earlier with the zone pass offs. Khalil Shakir can absolutely run the seam and the slot out the slot fade. So we've seen him move around. We've seen him move around a lot for the Bills. Humphrey, Humphrey. I mean, Humphrey is having a good year, no doubt. So do you feel comfortable with Humphrey matching up against him? Do you feel comfortable maybe with Stevens being a little more fluid, matching up with Shakir, who can be fluid? Um, but like
Well,
you said earlier,
to interject there, Yuri, they're playing sides. Brandon Stevens is not moving off the right side of the defense. And whether it's Marlon Humphrey or Nate Wiggins over there, let's flip it over and look at the 11 personnel while we're here. So, when the Bills run three receivers and Shakir is in that slot like you're talking about, it could be Humphrey following him. That's maybe when Nate Wiggins gets his play, when rookie Keon Coleman gets his play. But Brandon Stevens specifically is parked in that right cornerback spot. So this isn't a kind of thing where, look, we got one great corner and he's going to be traveling with their best receiver. Seems like the Ravens have confidence in all their guys. Stevens is going to be on the right. Marlon Humphrey, Wiggins are going to be on the left. Humphrey maybe in the slot. See how that works out. Yeah, that's what I have on that, Yuri. If you feel very strongly that they're playing sides because they did last year too.
yeah, for sure. So they're gonna have to. Well, the thing is the Bills, to what we said earlier, they still spread out the ball. So, I mean, like I'm thinking, like we always say that Marlon Humphrey is good against big X style receivers. So you park him on Coleman, and then make Wiggins kind of like almost like a slot defender for this game, and have him match up with Shakir Kincaid. Just trying to put the pieces together here in my brain, because honestly, I would probably take Hamilton, like you have it on the chart, and put him up on Kincaid, and then take I would throw Wiggins on Shakir, to be honest.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Hey, Keon Coleman, very physical. And Wiggins right now, he's kind of getting lost at the stem. Not sure if you noticed this on tape. And this is going to might come off harsh, but Wiggins pretty much got benched in that game. He came in, he was playing a lot in the second half. CeeDee Lamb got him a few good times. And then what did they do? They moved Humphrey back to Wiggins' side. They put Ardarius Washington in the game. And Ardarius was making his plays towards the end of that game. He did get beat for a touchdown, I believe. But when you saw Ardarius come in, that was because Wiggins was off the field.
Yeah, and my fear is with him versus Coleman is that Coleman is just a lot taller and longer than him, and if the Bills go out there and they start out physicaling us with a matchup like that, where Coleman's just a lot bigger, stronger, not faster, but bigger and stronger, and they get a couple jump balls to him, a couple of slants where Coleman's just getting easy 6 or 7 yards because he's bigger than him. That is my fear with that matchup. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, hey, it's warranted. And Keon Coleman, by the way, his playing time when I looked at his snap counts were really confusing there. Like the first two games, Keon Coleman was playing 70% of the snaps. And then this past week, he only played, I think, in the 30s or 20s. Maybe that had something to do with the Bills scoring 5 touchdowns in the first half. Not sure. But I do like Yuri's point. You could very easily take on this where you could take Wiggins out. You can put Humphrey in Wiggins' spot and put Ardarius Washington on the field with Shakir, because Shakir really ideally is a slot guy. Ardarius Washington is a slot guy. So if you want to put Humphrey back out on the right of your screen on the left of the defense and put Ardarius in there for Shakir, that very might as well could work even better. So it'd be interesting to see how the Ravens match up.
For sure, for sure.
So Yuri, I have a complaint slash request. We talked about Roquan last week, and I think people are starting to talk a little bit. Now, I'm not alarmed. This is not a 5-star alarm, and I'm not saying that Roquan is playing poorly. I think Roquan is playing well. I think the passes that were completed over the top of him were perfect throws, and he played it really well. I'm just to repeat myself last week, I want to see some dominant Roquan Smith play. Like, I would love to see him crush Josh Allen in this game, crush James Cook in this game, and I never root for injuries, but like that big hit that can really rattle a player and silence the stadium, get the Ravens fans in there going. I'm looking for Roquan to blow up one of the offensive linemen here and, make them think twice about how they attack them. I want to see a Roquan Smith game, Yuri.
Yeah, I'm with you. A big thing is establishing the tone, especially in a game like this where we're gonna do. I mean, they're gonna get physical. They're gonna get physical. So you got to go out there and to your point, you got to make a hit. You got to set the tone, especially in a big game like this. You got all the lights, you got all the fans, you got the blackout. You can't to put it pretty like plainly, you can't get bitched. You just can't. Like this, you got to go out there. You got to you got to establish that dominance. So Roquan Smith, to your point, he's playing fine, but he's just got to make a couple more plays. He's got to go out there, kind of like Kyle Hamilton for his first couple of games. The guy like what's going on, and then Kyle comes back last week, and you see him out there making plays. So that's all I'm looking for. Just go out there and make some plays.
And there's a mo money, mo problems aspect to this. Like, people are picking on Marlon. Marlon's playing very good. His grades are good, and the tape is adding up to a very good play too. He's just the Ravens. Ravens have paid him. He's a made man. Same with Roquan Smith. Mo money, mo problems, mo expectations. It's going to be important to get those guys going. My main, I would say, critique on defense right now is that the first week we saw Malik Harrison play inside linebacker and the foot speed just not add up. Credit to Zach Orr, changed it the very next week. Trenton Simpson, 100% of the snaps at inside linebacker. I want to see if Zach Orr is seeing the same thing I'm seeing, and I want to see how aggressive he wants to be in getting Ardarius Washington into this defense more. Yuri, there is, I know you tell me if you agree or not, but there is a sense of urgency for Ardarius Washington in the way he plays when he's on the field. There's an energy, there's a different level of effectiveness. Right now, he seems like a more effective player than Eddie Jackson. If we go back to where we had it in 12 personnel, Eddie Jackson, you see lined up there. I mean, he's been better than Marcus Williams. Marcus Williams has not played very well this year as well. So I'm looking for Ardarius Washington to start getting more and more snaps on defense like he earned his way onto the field last week in Dallas.
For sure. And hopefully the injury that he had is not a concern. I don't know if he practiced. Did he practice today?
Yeah.
He did? All right, cool. So then no problem. So yeah, he's got to get more snaps. You see him make plays on the ball. You see him in coverage. I mean, he's the last defender in coverage, right? And on that play with James Cook, where Brandon Cooks, had to do offensive pass interference because of the interception. Ardarius is the last guy back there, right? And I remember being that last guy back there, and you see a receiver come at you, like he comes by me, and they throw it over top me. There goes a 50-yard play. So for him to be able to sit there and be patient in coverage, calm, cool, collected, and make that play on the ball says a lot about him as a defensive back.
And you know what? This is something else with Eddie Jackson. Like, I know that they value Eddie Jackson's ability not to mess things up, to be in the right spot, to be that veteran, former Pro Bowl player, all of that. But do you remember in the preseason when Bo Braid was playing and coming up and smacking people who were, hitting the edge and heading up the alley, the run support, the speed, the urgency? Ardarius brings that. Like, if somebody's run, he takes ownership of the tackle. He plays bigger than his size. The combination of Eddie Jackson and Marcus Williams in the back is just not inspiring me personally. I like to keep it positive, but it's like they're playing very safe, they're playing very off, but there's not a lot of playmaking going on between the two. When you're last in the league in passing yards allowed, your free safeties should be involved, Yuri. They should be involved in this. They should be getting their hands on footballs. They should be making, tackles or pass breakups, not tackles, pass breakups, that kind of thing. And I'm just not seeing this from the two veteran safeties. And I got to admit, I'm a little bit concerned. We need Marcus to play better. We need Eddie Jackson to play better, or we need to get Ardarius or somebody else into one of those spots.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, to me, I think it's a time thing with the safeties. I think they'll figure it out eventually. Especially with Marcus Williams, I really am not concerned. For me, personally, with him, I'm not concerned. I think a lot of things have to come together with the coverage pass offs and the communication getting better, and Zach Orr being a little more aggressive in the back end coverage calls, and in terms of rotating coverage, because we've seen Marcus Williams a lot of times make plays in rotating coverage when the Ravens are rotating from single high to two high, and then two high down to single high, and having him be able to go out there and move and kind of not be like a sentry like he is out there right now.
Right. There are a lot of moving parts, and I kind of contradicted myself. I didn't contradict myself, but I agreed more with you at the beginning, where I think that at the beginning of the show, if you guys want to go back and watch it, where I think that the pass defense will improve. I think the game script and these guys being human beings and not wanting to give up the big play, and like you're saying, all the movement and the chemistry that it takes among all of them, even though they're veteran players, they just got to play more in live situations together and they'll improve. Marcus Williams has played really well when he's been out there. Shoot, even when he had basically one arm, he was making plays. Eddie Jackson needs to show me something. That's the guy I really got the eyeballs on at this point. I want to see some life out of that spot. I want to see some speed, some urgency, some playmaking ability out of that second safety back there, and especially when we got a guy, ball of energy like Ardarius on the bench. And shoot, if it come down to it, Bo Brates, Nusy Kane, we got some young safeties who can hang back and play cover too, Yuri. It's not like you're asking them to play the whole back end by themselves. To play a little spot and zone, and when they're running the ball, come up and smack somebody. That's kind of when I want to see that physical safety play.
Yeah, or even play quarters. I mean, that's
we got a spot for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a hero. We're not asking you to guard Kelsey one-on-one. Just play your role and be active, man. It's going to be fun. This game is going to be a lot of fun. Yuri, I sense from you a little bit of pessimism as far as like the outcome of this game, the Ravens' chances. Is that an unfair statement, sir? Like, how are you feeling about this game?
See, like, there's certain things that I want them to stick to that they did in this last game that we've seen them so many times. It's like they just go away from it for no reason. Like if they get down 10 in the first quarter of this game, like I understand that in order to get back into the game in a negative game script, you gotta throw the football more. But I want to see them die on their hill one time. Die on your sword, die on your hill, run the ball. Just keep running. You know what I mean? Just run. If they get down 10 early, now, okay, down late, fourth quarter, 5 minutes, go throw the ball. But I'm just saying, they get down 10 because they have a turnover, because Falele gets Rousseau'd or something like that happens. I understand. But I want to see them get big, get physical, get out there in 12 personnel, run the ball, play action, that type of game. But I think the game script isn't going to allow for that, unfortunately.
Okay, see, I'm feeling like, at home prime time that the Ravens get the first bounce of the ball. But, of course, it's the bounce of the ball. Who knows? But that crowd's going to be hype. You mentioned, look, if it's 10-0 in the first quarter and we're down, to me, that's when you double down on the run game. Look, man, our defense needs a break. We got to regroup over here. We got to come up with something else. They just scored on us twice. That's when, I really lean on Derrick Henry. And we saw the matchups with the linebackers that the Bills have. Daquan Jones being really the only true run stuffer they have on that defensive line. Oh, by the way, one guy we didn't mention, I want to give some love to here. Bills veteran, maybe future Hall of Famer Von Miller. Doing some work. You sent me a text, but that one cut off as far as like the stats on Von Miller. But I think he had like 4 pressures and 20 snaps or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Excuse me, the hiccups over here, but still an effective player as their third rusher, their sub rusher.
Absolutely. He's come back around. Someone that was on watch for a little bit last year, but yeah, he's come back out. Maybe not the Von Miller of old. I don't think that'll ever happen again. But out there, he's being productive. He's causing pressure, and that'll be something to see. Do the Ravens, if they go out there in heavy personnel again, how they're aligning the tight ends? Are they parking tight end over there with Von Miller? There's a lot. This is a fun game. It's a fun, exciting matchup. There's a lot of moving pieces, and a lot of in terms of offensive and defensive scheming. How do they stop this? How do they? Because the Bills have 2 good edge rushers. If Von Miller is who the stats say he is, they have 2 good edge rushers. How do they stop that? It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah, a lot of times for Ravens games, especially, but other games too, I pay attention to. But I have like a feeling of how it's going to go. Um, the Ravens are going to try to do this. The other team's going to try to do this. If that doesn't work, then they'll probably start doing this. To me, these two offenses and defenses so far are so multiple. They can do so many different things that I don't have expectations for this game. The Ravens could come out in heavy first personnel and start throwing the ball and throw everybody off because they're capable of doing that. Or they could come out in 5 wide and, like you're saying, Justice Hill, hand it to him. You know what I mean? Nobody's expecting that, and beat those linebackers to the edge. The Bills, the same thing. They could come out slinging it against the Ravens pass defense who would struggle. Or they could come out with James Cook and say, look, we got the number 1 offensive run blocking line. We're going to challenge you to mano a mano in your own stadium and run it down your throat. Man, there's so many different things that both of these teams do well and could do to each other that I'm sitting here and I don't have expectations. Like, I'm really curious, genuinely excited to see how this game goes. Not only if, Ravens win, Ravens don't win, but like how the game goes as far as, what's the game plan look like for both sides, and how do we adjust, and how do they adjust, and do we have an answer for them, and do they have an answer for us? Like, all bets off for me on this game, man. I really don't have a feel for how the teams are going to attack, and that makes it really fun for me.
Yeah, I don't have a pulse. I don't have a pulse for how this game.
Not literally. Not literally. Not literally.
Well, yeah, this is just going to be one of those games. Me personally, one of those heavy slug back and forth fights. So in terms of predictions, I'm gonna go. Oh man, I'm gonna be positive. Ravens 33, Bills 30. I think it's just gonna be one of those games where they're slugging back and forth. It's crazy. They're out of control. They don't know what they're doing. They're just out there swinging. They're swinging away, and the defenses probably don't look as great as they should. And they're out there swinging. And Justin Tucker game-winning field goal, a little redemption, a little confidence boost. There's my big prediction. A little confidence boost.
That would be awesome. Justin Tucker talk. Do you mind, Yuri, if we have a couple of minutes on this?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, my theory is this. Does the holder, Sam Cook, not being there have something to do with it? Probably. That could be a factor. Is there other factors as far as maybe he's in his own head a little bit, you know what I mean? And being like, for the first time, he's not super, super confident. That could be a case. And I've also gone through this as somebody that played ball as long as my body could hold up. There comes a time where you have to start changing the way you do things because you're not as powerful or as fast as you used to be. So as translate to Justin Tucker, when I was playing shortstop, third base, I had to get rid of the ball quicker. I didn't have that extra little zip on things, that kind of thing. So maybe Justin is, Harbaugh and Justin alluded to a technique thing. Maybe this is a thing where, look, I don't have the leg strength I had quite 2 years ago. So I got to change it up, man. I got to kick the ball in this spot instead of that spot, and I have to draw it from left to right or right to left. And I know nothing about kicking, but maybe he's got to, like a teenager going through puberty, have to adjust to his new body.
Hey, I was about to say something crazy. Look, he's just. I do think it's a culmination of things. I don't think he is fully washed. It technique to your point. Hey, just gotta maybe change the technique a little bit. Um, Start hitting the ball in different spots. But it is like I hate using the term washed, but I don't think he can hit from 50 anymore. I really don't. I don't. I would be surprised if he went back to hitting from 55 like he used to, 55, 56 consistently. He might be good for one here and there, but
See, I disagree. I think he can hit from 50. I think he can hit from 53, hit from 55. But I don't think he could kick the ball 66 yards anymore. You know what I mean? I think that he's probably lost a little bit at 34, 35. So when he's kicking from 50, he has to kick it harder than he used to kick a 50-yard field goal. You know what I mean? So that kind of
right.
maybe draws your accuracy a little bit. So again, just learning his body. Matt Stover went through it and he did it. He was money from inside 50 yards till he retired. And Justin will go through the same thing. He's a smart guy, conscientious guy. If it comes down to a 55-yarder to win it, heading into that left side of your TV screen, especially, that's where Justin likes it. He's going to hit that thing, and the Ravens are going to walk off winners. I'm confident in that.
All right, we'll see. We will see.
Hopefully, you can play that on Twitter or something, Yuri, if it comes true, or we can lead off next week's show with that. But I feel you on the shootout, man. I think that I could definitely see this going down to the wire and both teams playing well in a classic Sunday night football game in the black jerseys, man. We need it. Like, I don't feel the must win. I don't feel the pressure to win like that. The Raiders loss definitely adds to that aspect of it, but I want to see flashes of dominance from this team. And I want to knock Buffalo down a peg, man. I want Buffalo coming in flying high, 3-0, looking like the best team in the league, number 1, number 2 in the power rankings. I want to smack them in the face and knock them down a peg, man. That would be what I want.
Yeah, and let me get my Lamar Jackson greater than sign Josh Allen tweets off. Let me get my tweets off. This is a big get your tweets off type game. Get your agendas off. Let's have a game. Let's have a game.
Get your tweets off. Okay, I'm with that. So Yuri, with that, I want to say thank you to our football family. Love my football family. Thanks to the guys in the comments, Jai, Andrew, Jeremiah. Appreciate y'all. Anybody that comments afterwards, thanks for all the support on Twitter. And some people are shy, Yuri. They don't want to type into the chat here, but they'll hit me up in other places. Thank all y'all for watching and supporting. And if we ever get on a regular schedule, we will let you know. But just hit the notification bell on YouTube. It'll let you know when we're coming on, notify you of that. And we will be on every week. If Yuri has to miss a week, I'll pull somebody else out. But it's going to be me and you, buddy, riding this thing out.
Yeah, we're gonna keep riding. We're good. We're making our way through. I appreciate you for always having me on. Always appreciate the good vibes. And hey, anyone who is too shy to throw anything in the comment section, hey, we don't bite. We don't bite.
I mean,
well, okay, well, hey, but
all
yeah,
right,
appreciate you guys for doing it.
All right, hey, thank you, football family. Love my football family. Good night, people.
See you.